Hey, welcome everyone to the From the Shadows podcast. I am your host, Shane Grove. And before we get started with this week's episode, I just want to remind everybody that if you can't get enough of the From the Shadows podcast, you can find us at fromtheshadowspodcast.com. There's links to all of our social media there, our YouTube, our Spotify, wherever, even TikTok. Although I will never be dancing on TikTok unless I lose a bet to somebody. But you're still all kinds of stuff on all of our social media. Go check out, go become a part of the community. You can send me messages through the Facebook pages After the Shadows and From the Shadows, and you can find me at Shane Grove Author on Instagram and send me a message if you want. And if you have a story you would like to tell us about or come on the show and share, hit the contact button on that website, and it'll give you the opportunity to send me an email. So with that being said, anybody watching on YouTube can see I am on location. I am deep in the heart of South Carolina at my daughter's on vacation. If you listen to the Howler episode, you have already heard me down here in the rainstorm. So there's no rain tonight for this episode, but you'll see my background looks like a fence. So if a cat jumps behind me or something like that, I'll try not to get scared or whatever. But you never know what's going to come over this fence in the backyard. I just hope I'm prepared. So with that being said, I want to bring on our guest, somebody who was not prepared when her story happened. so I want to welcome Lynn from Texas. Lynn, thank you for joining us on the From the Shadows podcast.
I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Lynn, you have a really compelling experience that I want you to share with our listeners. But I think you have another little story that you maybe had forgotten about until you had
my beginning.
Yeah.
What brought all this into full circle was when I was around 22. My sister-in-law has some land up there, over 30 plus acres up there, and they had always said, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law had always said that Bigfoot walked across their land. Well, I went up there when I was 22, married with the kids, and we went out there, and I did see feet. But when I'm 22, I was like, who cares? Feet, who cares? So I do remember that story in the get-go, and that was in the 80s.
And you're talking about this was outside of Coshocton, Ohio.
Coshocton, Newcomerstown in Ohio. Yep. That's where it was.
Now, do you remember how big the footprints were that you saw? Or
they were pretty big. They were pretty big. They were big. But like I said, I was 22, 23, just gotten married, and that kind of stuff didn't interest me. I was like, whatever. But I did see the feet. I remember doing that. But we did have to go on the mule, and we rode up on the mule onto the land. That was it was a lot of land, 30 plus acres. And then I do remember them pointing them out, and I was like, okay, whatever. Okay.
Now, so, did they say anything about, was there anything that these creatures did that stood out to them other than just cross through their property?
They said that they could hear noises at night that were kind of peculiar. And I thought, oh, okay. So they did, they did say that there was some activity out there that they couldn't figure out what made that kind of noise. Mm-hmm. So, I think that was a big thing. It was a big thing to them. And, now that I'm this age, which is, a little over 50, well, a lot over 50, I realized, wow, that was something that was very, very interesting now it's interesting at this time. So that kind of led me to, I don't know if I believed it then. I just saw it and I thought, okay, noises, okay, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't even go into that. I didn't even give it much thought. But then go all the way and go hit my life now at late 50s. My husband and I, my husband likes to hunt. He's a big hunter. And him and I go every year to South Dakota. We go to South Dakota. Anyways, in South Dakota, it's a pheasant capital. So he likes to go pheasant hunting. So anyways, we have a huge coach, and his friend that lives up there worked for him for a very long time. He lives there now because now he is a farmer because his dad passed away and left the farm to this man, which is my husband's friend. So we're down there and they have a house in town, but they farm all this land and it's 3,000 acres plus. So when we go down there to go hunting on my husband's birthday's in October. So we go hunting, pheasant hunting every October for the last 4 years with my husband. We go hunting out there. But just in the last 3 years, we purchased a coach. So now we take our coach out there and we are parked on that farmland.
Okay.
And we're hooked up out there on that farmland. So my job is, because I love birds, I have peacocks, chickens, pheasants, ducks, every little bird you can think of, I have on my ranch here. So I'm not going to hunt no little bird. It's not happening. But I do love the way they taste if you kill them. Not me, you can kill them.
Okay.
So my husband goes hunting, and what I do normally is I drive the ATV or the mule, and I drop the hunters off because when you pheasant hunt, you have to drop the hunters off so they can walk the land. So I'm taking off. I'm dropping them off for far away, so they're walking back towards the barn, which has all the farming equipment. Because nobody is on this land. This land sits on its own. They grow the They grow. I want to say some kind of grain, peas or not, green beans, something like that. They grow on this ranch. So it was already tilled or harvest or whatever it was when these guys go hunting in October. So, anyways, I decided to drop them off and then go towards the opposite way to do a couple of spins around in that little 4x4. I'm driving a little mule, so I just want to burn a little bit of maybe tires, see if it goes around in circles, how fast it could go. Just be a kid, because I'm a big kid. To tell you the truth, I'm a big kid. So I'm sitting there and I'm way away from I can see they're this little, the hunters are that little, so I'm far enough away from them. And anyway, so I start thinking, okay, they're getting closer to the big building. It's a big metal building that there's his tractors and his columbine and all his stuff that he uses to farm. All that land is in that building. So I'm seeing that they're getting closer to the building. So I'm thinking it's time for me to go on in. But as I'm driving, I'm looking down to the side. I'm just looking around while I'm driving, looking around, and I see a foot. And I'm thinking, I stop and I get out and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, who's walking barefooted out here? Because there's no way on that terrain that you can walk barefooted.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. You will get because when they chop all the vegetables or what, I think it's some kind of beans, they leave big, huge, like they look like little pieces of really hard wood, and that stuff can go right through your foot if you're not wearing the correct attire to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, I saw a foot, and then I drive a little bit more, and then I start getting very interested, and I pull out my measuring tape, and the foot is 12 plus in size. And I know you got my photos. I don't know if you've already shown. I got a lot more photos, but I did send you the photos that I do have.
And we'll put those up here. We'll
after
put them
the
up,
story.
we'll put them up. Yeah, we'll put them up during the story while you're telling.
Oh, during the story.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it's
cool.
It's not up now while we're recording it. But
right.
Phil will put them up so while you're talking about it, they'll be able to see the footprints.
Because I got more. If he needs more.
We'll put up whatever. Yeah, we'll put up whatever you send. So.
Okay, so great. So I get the measuring measuring tape out, and I start measuring this, and then I go a little bit further, and there's a spot where it's all laid down. The grass is all, the big, huge weeds are all laid down like something big was laying there. And then I go a little bit further, and I'm taking pictures as I'm doing all this. I'm collecting my evidence because something is out there that is barefooted, and I'm thinking, could it be one of those ranchers? Man, their foot's really big. But when I ran across the scat, I knew that, wait a minute, this can, the feet barefoot, and then the laying down was a huge area. But the scat, if you show pictures of the scat, it's got berries and seeds and oats and grains in it, and it looks like a human scat. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that just alarm bells went off in my head, thinking, okay, what could it, and it was big. It was not like, I mean, humans I'm sure can, but this was pretty large scat. And I'm thinking to myself, right now I'm kicking myself thinking, why didn't I take a sample of it? That's what I'm doing right now. Or the way I'm thinking, what made that? What made that? What could have made that? So then I'm more curious. And as I'm going and I'm driving to the metal building to meet the hunters, I'm seeing these feet are going towards the metal building. They're headed that way. So I'm measuring them, and I'm stopping, and I'm taking different pictures of them. So I get to the metal building, and I ask the man in there that owns all that land, because we're getting ready to pluck and eat pheasant. So I'm just so freaked out about what I just seen that I asked the man, hey, did you know that maybe, and he's like doing this to me. And I'm like, but I think you got a Bigfoot out here. And he's like doing this. And I'm thinking, why are you doing that? And he told me, he says, look, he says, I know what you're talking about, but I don't, just stop it. Just don't say nothing no more. Just let it go. And I'm like, but why do you have cameras maybe? And I'm still not stopping it because I'm very curious and I'm kind of nosy and I want to know what's out there. That's what I want to know. And he's like, no, just stop. He says, my wife comes out here when I'm farming, and I don't want her to be scared. He says, I already know, just stop it. So I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to respect that because that's his property.
Mm-hmm.
Respect. And I was born way back then that you respect people. So anyways, you should respect people anyway, period. But so I didn't say anything. So they're all drinking cocktails and beer because they're making pheasant stew, pheasant wrapped with bacon. Ooh, that pheasant was delicious because they made it. They just made all kinds of stuff with pheasant. So I'm thinking they're asking me if I'm going to have a cocktail, and I said no. You know what? Because I'm like I told you, I'm a big kid. I want some chocolate milk from the coach that's parked 100 yards down that way. So I thought, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go make me a big glass of chocolate milk to have with my pheasant stew and pheasant bacon wrap and pheasant, everything pheasant. And anyway, so I leave the metal building, and this building is humongous.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big building. It's holding all these tractors and stuff. So as soon as I go out the door and shut the door, I'm in complete darkness. I can't even see my hands this close. It's so dark out there on that land.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can see as I'm looking up is the stars, and there's a lot of them, and it's the most beautiful stars everywhere, just beautiful. And you can see shooting stars. It's just amazing. So I'm walking towards my coach, which is about 100 yards away from the door I just closed, and the porch light on the coach is on. So I'm just looking up and looking at the stars and walking towards the light of the coach. And all of a sudden, I hear a grunt. And before I heard the grunt, let me back up a little. All my hair just stood up first. All my hair on my arms, on the back of my neck. I felt it. I felt my hair just go up. And then I heard the grunt. So it's like my body already knew something that it
Mm-hmm.
was weird. It was so weird. When I heard the grunt, the only thing I could think of was screaming at the top of my lungs and booking it towards the light of my coach. And I got in there and I slammed the door, and I just shook, and I thought, what the heck was that grunt? Nothing out there can make that noise. I was sitting there I was sitting in my coach, and I was thinking, a cow can't make that noise. Okay, what if it was a bear? Can a bear make that noise? Well, why would a bear? And everything's going through my head. What about a deer? What about this? What about that? I was thinking of everything that could possibly make that kind of noise. And there is nothing that I could think of that made that kind of noise. So I called my husband on the cell phone, and I asked him, because he was out hunting um, earlier. So he has his hat on with his big light on with his hat. And I said, you need to come get me, because I honestly think there's a Bigfoot outside. And it grunted at me. And he says, okay, I'm coming your way. So he comes and gets me, and he shines the light all over as far as the light can go, because it only goes a certain amount. It's on your hat. So, and I point and I said, it was over there. It was right over there. And he says, it's okay, babe. So he just grabs me, and I got my chocolate milk, and we go and we enjoy the pheasant and everything that night. The next day, the hunters are out hunting. I'm going to stay in. But my husband says, I want to take you down. It's a one horse town, one way in, one way out. I want to take you out to the steak dinner. There's only like 2 restaurants in this whole little town. Very, very, everybody knows everybody in this little town. So we went in there, and I'm thinking to myself, I still have this well, actually, I need to back up, because the next morning when I wake up after the grunt, the next morning when I wake up, I go to where I heard the grunt, and then you have a picture of my pink flip flop with the foot that I found right there where I heard the grunt. So that's the little piece that I left out, is the next morning after everybody, we drank and ate and had fun, went back to the coach, went to sleep. The next morning, the first thing on my mind was going over to see where that grunt was. And that's when I took a picture of my pink flip flop and the foot that was next to my coach. And as soon as I walked into that terrain, one of those spikes from the I guess the beans or whatever they picked went right through my flip flop.
And I think I think it's probably soybeans.
Soybeans. That's what it is. Soybeans.
Yeah, because after they you combine those off, what's left is
it's those big sharp sticks.
Hard stalk.
Bitty,
yeah, hard
so
stalks.
Small. Some of them are big, some of them are small.
Okay, so in the soybeans stubble, there's no matter how crazy some guy was, you're not out there walking in your bare feet.
No, because it went right through my flip flop. Just the 2 steps for me to take to find the foot that where I heard the grunt, it terrified me. And then I called my husband and I said, look, and I said, do you see what I see? And I rubbed my eyes and I thought, do you see it? Do you see what I see? It's right there. And he says, Lynn, I see it as clear as day, babe. I see it as clear as day. You're right. Something was out here. And he says, I believe it was the Bigfoot. So anyways, then he takes me out to eat. Place is a bar. It's an eatery. It's a bowling alley. And it's a pool hall. So it's all in one.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a good time. That's what that sounds like.
It is a good time. Believe me, it's a good time. I've had many good times there. So yes, it's a good time. So I thought, okay, this guy lives here, the bartender. He lives here. The person that I wanted to talk to that owns the land doesn't want nothing to do with talking to me about it. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and see if the bartender there will talk to me. So I show him my phone. I'm like this. I go up and I'm like, look what I got. And he looks at my phone and he says, oh, Bigfoot. And he walks away. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, really? But the other lady, there was a bartender woman and a bartender man. He walked away from me, but the lady that was at the other side of the bar started walking towards me. And when she walked towards me, she says, hey, can I see that? Can I see what he said, Bigfoot? And I said, sure. So I started showing her all my pictures and I told her my story. And she's like, oh my God. She went like this. Oh my gosh. She says, I thought I was going crazy. And I was like, why? And she says, okay, I have to come early in the morning and it's kind of dusk outside. And she says, every morning, not every, some mornings, most mornings, she goes, I drive over a kind of like a little river, like a bridge, and there's a river flowing under it. And she says, and I have witnessed what I think is a juvenile Bigfoot in the water. And I sit there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm imagining this. So I wipe my eyes and look, and she says, it's a juvenile Bigfoot and he's in the water, messing in the water. I don't know if he's catching fish or what he's doing, but he's in the water. And she says, and I thought I was going crazy. And now you have the proof. And she says, where do you see this? And we both pointed to that guy's house, that guy's ranch. We both pointed at the same time to the same place where this farmer lands at. And she's like, oh my God. And she told me his name and everything. And she says, I know exactly, that's where it's at. You pass it and it's right there. She says, and I've been seeing him. And she says, and now you got the proof I'm not crazy. She says, I'm not crazy. And she walks away. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I just thought to myself, I experienced something that I cannot explain. And I definitely, I am a believer now. I am a true believer. But let me go ahead and go into this last year.
Okay.
Went back there again. They're very, very smart animals. Or there is some kind of human. I'm not sure what a Bigfoot is, but I know that they're very smart. Because if you think about it, they're even on the walls when, like, I like to go hiking and biking in Utah. And they're the hieroglyphics. There's even Bigfoots on the hieroglyphics on the walls there. So they've been around for quite some time. Because I started researching as soon as this happened to me, my life completely just, I wanted to research. I wanted to know more. I wanted to, and I've seen this because I've always hiked and biked and done activities. I'm a little bit of a tomboy, but I kind of wanted to tell you that I have been to Utah and I have seen the hieroglyphics and seen them on the walls and stuff. So these creatures are very, very smart. They have to be, and they have to have been here way before humans, I think, my opinion. But also the thing is that when all this happened, we go every October. So last year we went again. But I decided I am not going to go. I felt something out there and it was very uneasy and unnerving to me. So I told the hunters, you can do it yourself. You can go and walk and I'm not going to go this time. I'm going to sit in the coach and I'm going to just relax here in the coach. Well, while I'm sitting in the coach, I'm relaxing and there's they have big windows in the front. So I'm kicked back on my recliner on my side of the coach and I'm talking to my mother on the phone. And then about 200 yards, as I'm looking out the window, there is a pond. And in that pond, the guy that owns this land, this 3,000 plus acres of farmland, he has one side where our coach is sitting. He's got it to where you can see into the pond, but on the other side, it's the grass and everything is really high. But just on the one side that's closest to his building, it's all cut and mowed down. And you can see the little otters and cranes and everything swimming.
Yeah.
And anyways, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to watch him. So I'm sitting there on the phone and my hair goes up again. Just it starts going up. And I'm on the phone with my mother. And all of a sudden I'm looking out the window laying on that recliner and it had to have been over 150 birds. I didn't even know that they were on the ground, but they all flew up at once. And it was like birds everywhere. It was like a cloud of birds. Didn't even know they were on the ground. And they flew up and my hair had went up and those birds flew up and then they're huge bucks. And they had horns. I mean, they were big bucks. They ran, they jumped, and they were running up the hill. and you could see them running up that hill, like something had spooked them. And I told my mom, I said, I think it's here, Mom. And she's like, it's there. And I said, yes, my hair just went up, and there's deer that just ran, and all these birds just flew up. And I think it's here. I said, and I'm starting to get goosebumps, and my hair is standing up. And that, to me, I looked out the window. I didn't go outside. I looked out the window to see if I could see it. But I honestly do think that it came to see me again. I looked out the window. I didn't go outside. I looked out the window to see if I could see it. But I honestly do think that it came to see me again because it saw the coach. And my coach, the guy that farms that land, he doesn't have a big coach like that come in except once a year when we come and visit, and we park it there. So they're smart enough, I think, to know, hey, I've seen that before, especially if they live out there. And this is just me thinking. Okay, he's probably saw the coach and thought, the investigator, I don't know what he calls me. He probably just, I have very, very long hair, and it's down to my butt. So maybe he's thinking, I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. I just know that he's probably, in the way I think, is he's putting the coach together with the girl that he has tried to be in contact with. Now, I hope, I'm going back in October, and this time I am prepared. I have my plaster, and I hope I have enough guts that if it comes near, because for some reason, the inside, my Jiminy Cricket, whatever, that my my inside compass, it tells me that it wants to communicate with me. It really, it tells me.
I wonder if it heard. I wonder if it heard you talking on the phone, and that's what drew it in. If you're sitting there talking on the phone, it probably, I mean, most animals have better hearing than any of us, and it probably, yes, you're right, saw the coach, but probably heard you talking.
Also, you see, I never thought of that, but you're right, because he's got to have really good instincts.
I would
big
think so.
time. But I honestly think, and it's probably sounds crazy, and I really think it wants to take me. I honestly really feel like that.
Hey, look, it's a juvenile male. And he's probably like, hey, there's this chick out there who she keeps coming back. She obviously,
doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. But I just know that this next time in October, if I go out there and stuff happens, I'm going to be ready. Now, am I going to be ready to face it? I don't know about that part of it. I probably won't, because they always tell you, well, why don't you take a picture? Why don't you do this? Honestly, it freaks you out so bad, because you're sitting there thinking, can this be? How can this be?
I would make one suggestion. I get a digital voice recorder and set it on the back bumper of the RV there, of the coach, and just let it run all night. Because I'll bet if it knows you're there, it's walking around, or it's coming around at night after you guys have gone to bed, and you might. And that's the thing, is people don't normally catch great video or great pictures of these things, because they can see they can sense the infrared trail cam stuff, and people that put up, but they don't, people catch amazing audio because they don't think it's like these creatures aren't worried about it or they're not aware of it. And you can hear footsteps, you can hear breathing, you can,
Hmm.
if it makes a noise, I would, I would, I would, if you really want to see if you can catch something, I'd just go get a digital recorder. And then as soon as it gets dusk, hit record.
And
It'd probably record all night, probably, and just
yeah,
see if you can catch anything.
I
See?
bet you, you know what? That's very, very good advice because they can see, and you have those motion lights that come on.
Hmm.
Well, they come on a lot when we were there,
Oh,
and
really? Oh,
they
okay.
do. They sure do. The motion lights just come on, I am a night owl. I like 1 o'clock in the morning. I go to sleep. If not at 2. Sometimes I just can't sleep. I have sleep insomnia, so I do stay up when my husband goes to sleep. Um, and it's creepy when the lights come on.
I'm
And it's
sure
like,
it
what's
is.
what's what's going on out there? But I look through the coach
Hmm.
window and I can't see nothing. So I'm just thinking, okay, it's probably a cat, maybe a raccoon, maybe whatever, something went by. But when they go off and then it goes back on, it's like, okay. But I always think, okay, wind. I always try to think everything else besides Bigfoot outside.
Wind is not turning on an outside light. I'm just,
No,
just
no,
telling
it doesn't. It doesn't, and you're right.
you.
But yeah, that's when I turn the TV off, and then I go into my bedroom and I crawl way under my husband because it
uh,
scares me. It's very scary, and just telling the story when it happened, I still get chills. It's something that happened, and I can't put it together in my head. It just is like, did I just witness? Did I just go through something? Did I just did it watch me while I was uh measuring its feet and taking pictures of its scat and taking pictures of its bed? Was it watching me do that? And maybe that's why it's curious because I was curious to figure
yeah.
out, hey, what's going on out here?
It's probably like, hey, this chick really digs me. She's,
Yeah,
checking out.
probably.
Well,
She's
okay.
checking up
So,
all she's checking even my poop. She loves me. It's crazy.
uh,
It was just so crazy.
well,
I just
I want to follow up on some things here.
okay.
So, for the listeners, okay, so out in South Dakota, where you're at, what is so he's got 3,000 acres. So not all of it's probably farm ground. What else kind of topography is there? You said there was a pond. Is there tree? Is there sections of woods? Is there
Yes.
hills? Is there hills? Is there a river other than the one that the bartender saw? Is there places for a creature like this to that could go hide, uh, not be seen during the day?
Most definitely it could inhabit it. It could live there. Most definitely. Especially because there's farms on top, there's farms and other farms and other farms, and all these farms are growing different things. There's nothing but farms there.
So and obviously there's a lot of game,
Yes,
just in
there's a lot
fet,
of game,
and there's a lot of just food.
a
Um,
lot, plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of fish. It's right there by Black. Is it called Black Rock area?
okay,
There's
okay.
by it's in that area. It's close to the monument with all the monument. Not
You're not talking about Mount Rushmore.
Mount
Mount Ru-
Rushmore.
Okay.
We always go by
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore when we leave
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So it's right
S-
in that area.
So there are hills and mountains and
Oh
stuff around.
yeah,
Okay.
there's
Okay.
most definitely there is a lot of nutritional food out there for a family of them to live. Because when you look at the pictures, the foot is a big. It's even wide. It's tall. It's
Yeah.
long,
Hmm.
but it's also wide.
Yeah. I think the thing that stood out is you said it measured about 12 inches, which is about a size 13, which I wear 13. So it's about 12 inches, which is not crazy. I mean, a lot of guys or people wear the same size shoe as I do. However, the width in that picture was insane to me.
Hmm.
It seemed almost as wide as it was long, even though I know it wasn't, but it certainly seemed like that. And then the point is nobody is, I mean, my family farms, we farm thousands of acres. I would never in a million years think about walking across a plowed field in
Exactly.
bare feet. It would have to be a real emergency. You wouldn't make it very far. You'd be done. You know, it
And
would,
those feet prints were all over the place.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no way that you could walk in that terrain. There's no way. And
No.
I I just don't know how else to explain it in just the way I explained it. It's mind boggling. It leaves you scratching your head like, what did I just go through? What was this? I am a strong believer now and there's other things besides us human on this earth. And I think that I hope that I hope that when that well me thinking the 12 feet in the measuring tape when I measured it, the lady kept saying she saw a juvenile
Mm.
Bigfoot. So to me, I thought, oh wow, that foot's not that big. She says she thinks it's a juvenile. So I put those two together when she told me that.
Hmm.
And I thought, okay, this foot doesn't look as big as the feet that normally I've seen on different
That are like 15,
things.
16, 18
Right.
inches. Yeah. That would make sense. It's a reasonable assumption to make. Um, Now I am curious. Did you then, so the landowner kind of shushes you, doesn't want you to talk about it, but do you tell him then the next day that, hey, look, dude, I walked back out there and it was there grunting at me. Do you tell him that or do you just leave it alone?
I left it alone because um I I don't want to step on my husband's favorite hunting spot.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
So I left it alone. So that way, I don't ruin something that my husband loves to do. I was already told by the landowner to zip it. So I just left it alone. I think he knows it's there. I think it doesn't bother him, so he doesn't bother it. I think that he just, or maybe he's one of those people, I don't see it. I don't care. Yeah, there's a foot. I don't see it. I don't care. Maybe he's like that. I'm not sure. He's older. He's a lot older. So could be that he just doesn't care to partake in that kind of because he says he has cameras. But when I ask him if I could see his cameras,
Hmm.
he won't let me.
See,
So I'm
that stinks, but yeah, I mean,
it does stink.
huh?
It does.
and,
Especially because I know it's out there.
and I want to, I won't share too much, but I just want to let everybody know that because they're probably going like, well, what's her husband think? Well, your husband without saying too much, has a reason to believe you and is
He
not,
sure does.
and he's not going to question what you're telling him. Now, we're not going to go into any more
No,
detail, but he has a reason to believe you, and that's why. Because I'm sure people were like, what? She's told her husband that, and he didn't think. Go, but
well,
yeah,
because without saying too much, he had his own Bigfoot experience when he lived on the reservation, but that's his story.
yep,
And he is Native American, and he has different the way they feel when a Bigfoot's around is
hmm
different than see I'm a white girl. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
there's a Bigfoot. What do we do? It's a Bigfoot. And he's like, we as Native Americans, that is a spirit. That's a good spirit. And they have a whole way of different it
hmm
looking at stuff than I do in like I said, I want to tell someone I saw something. I don't know what it was, and I believe when other people come on these podcasts and say, "Hey, I saw this," I believe them because it happened to me. It happened to my husband, and his story is better than mine. Oh my, is it better than mine? But I want him to be able to tell it if he wants to. It's
hmm
not my place to tell it. But I definitely think that his story is so much more better. But hopefully, I can talk him into coming on here and telling his story, but that's why he believes me because he has encountered one himself when he was very young on the reservation where he grew up at.
Now,
So that's why he believes.
now, now, is your sister, was it your sister that lived in Coshocton?
My she is my she is my sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law.
Yes. But she is not my sister-in-law. Um, I, I was a widow for a very long time, so this is my second
Oh,
husband.
okay. So she was your first husband's sister.
Yes,
Okay.
my husband that passed away, it was his sister and her husband, and they lived in Coshocton, Newcomerstown, in
Now,
that area.
now, did you ever think about reaching back out to them after you had
And
your?
see, and they, you know what? Till this day, they say that Bigfoot walks across their land. Till this day, they say that.
Well, then make sure you give them my number because I want to tell. Because that is literally when I'm back in Ohio, literally, an hour away. And I mean that
It's
is
right there, yeah.
yes, and that is such a and that area is such a hot spot, that part of Ohio. And which I think, from I don't know that we've had, but maybe one other story that I've got personally from South Dakota. But it seems to me, I've got a friend that lives out there, um, not too far away from where your encounter happened, and it's wild. There's a lot of they hunt, they fish. I mean, it just seems, and there's not a lot of people. It seems like it's a great place for these creatures to maybe hang out, or raise a family,
Well, if you look at the scat and you kind of blow it up, you see that it has berries and wheat
I got to
and
be
it has
honest.
oats.
I got to be honest. I didn't blow up the scat picture. I don't want to be one of those guys where somebody looks over my shoulder and sees me looking at, big picture.
You should look at it though,
I will. I'll
because
check. I
you
will.
need to, because to me that's very interesting.
I
Because
saw that. Yeah.
what are they living on? What is it that they
hmm
have there? And even part of it, some of it up there looks like it ate like a little snake. Like if you look at it, I'm not sure, but some of it does. It
We
looks
will.
like
We
it ate
will.
something.
We will put that picture up, and we will. allow
Examine
people
it.
to check it out. And I mean, we encourage people to check out stuff that our guests give. Just so like I said, because it may help confirm with
Be
them.
the judge. Be
Yeah,
the judge of it.
because
That's all I can do is I can give you what the evidence that I have. I was there. I know it happened. Why did it happen to me? I'm not sure. Maybe I was picked out because there's a lot of people that think that if Bigfoot wants to be seen by you,
hmm
he picks you. So I'm not sure about any of that, but I know that I feel telepathically, I feel that it wants to communicate with me or wants to take me. One of the two when I go to
don't let it take.
when I'm
Don't
over
open the
there.
door. Don't open the door of the
Yeah,
coach.
but that's the feeling that I get every time
hmm
that it comes around. And I don't know if it's telepathically telling me come out or telepathically saying something. Maybe I don't know. It sounds crazy. I know it does, but I just can't explain. I can't explain it. It's just a very the way it happened was very weird. And I kid you not, it wasn't far from me when it grunted at me. We were just, we were just like maybe 10 to 15 feet away from when it grunted at me. It was very close to me
Well,
because my hair just raised. It just
I
raised.
gotta be honest. In pitch black, it wouldn't matter what it was that grunted at you. I would be scared. That would be, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not
I
expecting,
couldn't see nothing.
yeah, you're not
And
expecting
all I
anything out there.
But I did come home and I researched it after it happened, and there was the sounds of a Bigfoot in was it Colorado? There's a guy that does sounds of Bigfoot. I think he's from Colorado, and in one of his recordings that he has the voices because he has them communicating and
Okay.
stuff
Okay.
in one of his voice recordings there is a grunt that is exactly what I heard.
Wow.
And it's only in this one tape because I've heard many tapes of Bigfoot and their noises, but it's only in this one tape, and it took me forever to find, but I finally found it, and he was from Colorado, and I
If you remember what that is, send me a link to that. I'd love to.
send you the noise.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
send me that. I'd
I'll
love to.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you because that was because for the longest time I was buried in YouTube trying to figure out what it was that I experienced. I couldn't figure it out. I wanted answers. I wanted answers like not I wanted answers yesterday.
Yep.
What is it that I
Yep.
encountered? And the only thing I could say is that it had to have been a Bigfoot. It had to have been. Um
Well, I am eagerly anticipating hearing from you in October after you go back out and
really
seeing what you discover this time. And hey, I'm just gonna tell you, be safe out there. Be
most
safe.
definitely. If I
Be
come up
safe.
on a milk carton, you know what happened.
Holy smokes. Well, then
But definitely I am when I go back in October, I am prepared. I don't think I'm prepared to come in
mhm.
contact together that close. I don't think I don't think I'm prepared for that. Maybe I will be. I don't know. I am prepared to make the cast though. I am prepared to make
All right.
if I find the feed out there again, which I probably will because that's where they live is in that area, and no one's out there to bug them. No one.
If you
I mean,
if
it's
you
just land.
if you make a couple good casts, we'll get him sent to Dr. Meldrum. I got his number. We'll get him sent to him and have him check him out and see what he thinks.
What do you think about the scat? Should I get, if I find scat, should I get?
Listen, if you're brave enough to go digging around and some poop out there, go for it. Go for it. What's it gonna hurt? I guess.
What's it gonna hurt? You know what is it gonna hurt? Just like if I can find a hair.
Oh yeah.
What's it gonna hurt to try to figure out what we are encountering out there? Because we are encountering something. And it's I don't think it wants to hurt us. I really don't.
I think if it wanted to hurt you guys, it would have already hurt you guys.
It would have already done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because well, I hear that on YouTube that people come into encounters with them and they're mean. And I'm thinking, I don't know why they would be mean. But besides, they don't want you in their territory, maybe.
Yeah, I think the mean is more of an intimidation to get you out of some place where they don't want you. Either they have young, or you're encroaching on them hunting, is what it seems like. It seems like you're keeping them from getting a meal that they want to get. Now, that's just what my deduction is from what I've heard. Maybe I'm totally wrong. That's kind of what it seems to me. So, but Lynn, I am so glad that you decided to share this with us. I know there's going to be a lot of people rooting for you to go back out in October and find some more evidence.
Find some evidence
and be safe. My hat's off to you. A lot of people would not want to go back. They wouldn't go back, and they wouldn't certainly be excited about it. So I can tell you're excited. So
I am, because honestly though, Shane, I just think that it's communicating with me, and I'm not sure how to. I know that it wants to communicate with me. I know that sounds crazy, but it wants to. And maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to be like Harry and the Hendersons and bring it back home, but maybe, I don't know. I think that I'd probably, to tell you the truth, Shane, I'd probably be very scared of it. I probably would, because it scared the tar out of me in the dark when it grunted at me. Mm-hmm. So I can't even imagine standing next to it or seeing it eye to eye.
Or even seeing it through the window of the coach.
Of the coach.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. I would probably shit my pants. I'm sorry. Can I say that?
You already did. It's okay.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that, but I probably would. It would scare me that bad.
I get it. So,
and I know why people don't take pictures of it, because when it literally is happening to you, it literally just takes your whole breath right out of you. It's just like, OMG. Oh, what is going on? Mm-hmm. It literally does. So I can see why people don't, they're shaky when they take a picture of it. I can see that.
Yep.
I was shaking in my flip-flops running when it growled at me. So I can just imagine if it's 50 yards from you by a tree looking at you, I would totally understand it. I can understand why you're shaking, because you're seeing something that's honestly a miracle. It's got to be some kind of a. It's what is it? what can you say? It's something. Something.
And that is why we do the podcast.
I love it, and I thank you for letting me share my story. It took me a while to want to share my story, because I thought, well, people are going to probably think I'm crazy, but you know what? I don't care, because I know what happened, and I hope to get at least the feet cast of it this next October when I go, which is coming up right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner.
So I hope that I can find the cast and I can make a really good cast of the creature that has been. I think it's just knows that I'm there because of that brown bullet looking thing. He probably sees that and thinks, I've seen that. And I don't know. I think he can put two and two together. I think they're smart enough to do that.
Well, let's
So
hope.
maybe,
Let's hope. I'm waiting. I can't wait for the update. So
yeah. I hope I'm not on the milk carton though. I hope that I come back.
You'll be all right. Well,
I
thank you.
will.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn. And like I said, I can't wait to hear the update.
Will do, and thank you for having me on the show. I hope that if there's Bigfoot researchers or Bigfoot stories out there, come on Shane's show and give us your story, because definitely there's a lot of stories out there. There's a lot of them.
Yes.
And I really appreciate you taking the time and letting me tell my story. I appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
God only knows what's hiding